just amazing. And after watching this story, I will present you the results. He recorded the object almost for 3 minutes, very close. The object affected 2 transformers in the area that were burned. They had to be changed. His cellular phone stopped working. He had physical problems with his memory. He was affected very much. You can see the black dots there. They are not there. It's the tape. The tape was affected. The energy was very, very strong. Sometimes these objects are dangerous. Dangerous because they have this energy around them.
And Mauricio Ruiz managed to fix the camera twice because the camera wanted to shut down. He was very concerned and tried to fix down and continue filming.
I believe this is one of the best videos that have ever been taken here in the U.S. And I can tell you, I can put my hand on fire for this video. This video is absolutely real. And the object produced magnetism. And this, I have the analysis with the logo of the University of Mexico to prove it. After the university realized what they had done, they called me and said, we want equal time in TV to say that it's not an extraterrestrial object. And I said, well, I never said that. I said that we found magnetism. And they couldn't prove. They wanted to discredit their own investigation. Can you believe that? They want to discredit the scientists who did it. It's true. They didn't know what to do. But they had the rope in their neck. Thank you. Now, let's listen this incredible, funny man, incredible man. He worked with the police in Houston, in the Alvin area. He's a very honest man, very clean, very nice family. There is no reason not to believe in this incredible story.
Early in the morning, about 7:15, 7:20 at the latest that I could recall, on that particular day, April 11th, 2008, I normally come over from upstairs straight to my kitchen. I try to get something here for my dogs. That I have 2 dogs, and I like to feed them something all the time. And right now I'm just grabbing anything. But what I do, I come in and I get something for my dog, so I'm going to go feed him. I come outside early in the morning. Most of the people already went to work. And I bring my dogs. Here, Chewy. Come on. Good boy. I feed my dogs every morning. Come out here to the yard. Here, Joey. Come on, get some more. Good dog. Here. Spiky. Yeah, and as I'm feeding my dogs right here. Here. Good doggy. Come and get it. You're a good doggy. I was feeding my dogs right here. And all of a sudden, as I'm turning towards, the horizon, towards the house and the pine tree, I noticed something that's something's out of the ordinary, like a speck of something dark. And I focused myself, and I said, I looked at it for a while, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. So what I did, I ran inside to my house. I had the camera, my video camera, sitting there by the TV. And I grabbed it real quick because I had used it on Easter Sunday with my family. And I let it sit right there for a while. So what I did, I brought the camera, and the dog, Shuito here, he was here, as well as the other dog. And when I noticed the object, I grabbed my camera immediately, and I started to videotape from that angle. But he was growling. He was like, and I just petted him, but I couldn't talk. I didn't know what to say. I was just speechless, like they say. So what came to my mind, videotape. Keep the camera going. So I'm out here, and I'm videotaping, and I'm trying to hold on to the dog. And when I noticed the object moved, either my hand shaked a little bit, and I felt some sensation, something, but I was just too shocked. I didn't know what was going on. But that thing really didn't look like a plane or anything. It looked something like round, and it had something at the bottom that kind of shined, but I couldn't tell. So I got my camera, and I zoomed in. That's when I noticed the top part was either going around, it looked like, and then at one time, he did this. But when he did that, my camera captured it, but something happened. I couldn't keep going. And then the object, what he did, it went up, and then it stopped, and then it went like this, and then it went up, and came all the way up. That's when I tried to close in. And when I noticed that the object didn't take off, no, it just glided away, like a kite. It just glided away towards the horizon. And I just couldn't understand it. I looked at my camera, took it inside, and that's when I said, wow, I got it on tape. But at first I didn't think I got it on tape because the camera don't show it. That's funny. I said, oh. And you have to put it on pause, and it comes out, the picture, the video. But if you let it go play, you won't see it. And then all of a sudden when it stops, you could film it. You could actually videotape it. I mean, this incident here, I don't know what happened. I'm not used to this. If people say, we saw the video, but where's your voice? Say something. Well, I'll be honest. I wanted to say something, but I couldn't. Even the dogs were not saying. They normally bark like, whoa, whoa. This time they were just like trying to bark, but they couldn't. I had the same thing. I was just telling in my mind, quiet, quiet. That thing, like if it was just sending a signal to me, like don't move, don't say anything, just watch. And I had that little feeling, Now, that's probably me. But you know what? I don't see that every day. So the only thing that I did, get the camera, videotape. The sky that morning had a little bit of fog and a little bit of mist. They call the dew, early morning dew. So I just got the camera. I couldn't focus that good. I could only zoom in because my finger on top, But I couldn't, focus everything. So the way the video turned out was, the object and the sky, no clouds that morning. It was just kind of foggy. So it scared me. I was scared. I was surprised. And I said, I might as well just call Jaime, because I heard about Jaime. He always comes out like, this happened here, this happened there. I said, if Jaime could have something to match it up and say, I have it, okay. That's why I say, Jaime, come over, take this video with you. I'm going to give him the cassette tape. He could have it. I don't want it because every time I see it, it throws me off. I just don't feel the same. Now, I'm a retired person. I retired from the government. And I don't want to play around. I don't want to come out and say, hey, it's me, it's a fake. No, if it's a fake, I'll just tell Jaime, don't waste your time. Stay home. I'll send it to you. No, I want him to come over here. I want him to film because I believe that Jaime will provide real evidence, whether from me, whether maybe somebody else is going to have a better video. And then Jaime is going to say, it all started from Alvin on down. This could be the beginning of the new wave of close encounters where we could videotape them. And don't be scared, because if you're scared like me at first, you say, no, I don't want to do nothing. Leave it alone. No, give it to Jaime. Believe me, if Jaime knows how to deal with it, you will deal with it like me. Thanks to Jaime and his staff, I feel confident. And like I said, peace out.
Thank you. We found a second object with the same characteristics from April 24, 1993 in Mexico, in Ocotlan, Jalisco. 40 pictures by Raúl Domínguez. These are some of the best pictures. Probably you remember this object. It's a classical case now in the UFO phenomenon. And if you do this, if you turn around the object from Alvin, it's just the same. I believe both objects are very, very close to each other. Probably the same object or from the same group of intelligent beings, I don't know. But then, this picture was taken in 1995 by Mr. Bartlett in Guadalajara. This is a new highway. Where was it? What nice, a new highway. And then he got this photograph. He saw the object, and he was able to take this incredible photograph. And it's very similar. We believe it's the same object. And now, just a couple of weeks ago, I went to a television program in Guadalajara, and Daniel Monraz, a friend of mine, presented this video from 2002. And amazingly, seems to be the same object. Then we have at least 4, the evidence, and 3 more that support these kind of objects. 3 different witnesses, or 4, as a matter of fact. Now, this is the analysis that was made in the university. This is the chemist Miguel Ángel Canseco and my collaborator Rodolfo Garrido. And I think this is the first a tape has been tested this way. Sometimes we test the image, we don't test the physics on the tape, because there is no reason to do that. But in this case, with the magnetism inside, it was very important to do this.
Can you
raise up the volume
of the video so we can hear the audio?
Because we have to listen what they have to say. And the audio...
Doctor Canseco, ¿cómo está usted? Muy buenos días.
Buenos días.
Bueno, parece ser que ya concluyó usted con sus investigaciones.
Sí, el estudio.
Creo que ya tiene los estudios.
Sí,
Platíquenos, ¿qué encontró, doctor?
A ver, se hicieron 3 estudios. Uno que se llama microscopía de fuerza atómica, que lo que se hace es, se estudia la topología, la morfología de la superficie a nivel atómico.
Va siguiendo la cinta una especie de cono.
Un cono, una punta, hace una topografía, un escaneo en una área de la superficie de la cinta, y se analiza o se determina la rugosidad, la topografía y la respuesta magnética en este caso.
Muy bien, ¿y qué es lo que encontró cuando usted hizo esa inspección?
Bueno. A ver, nosotros probamos la cinta en una parte dañada.
Lo mostramos.
Y se observa, esta es una cinta, la cinta en la parte no dañada.
No dañada.
Se ve la topografía homogénea en la superficie.
Vemos que hay una uniformidad en todo lo que son los dominios.
Los dominios, sí, la altura de los picos, esta es la altura que tiene la intensidad de la señal. Esta es la cinta en la parte dañada.
La que está a la izquierda.
Exactamente.
Esta es la dañada y aquí vemos irregularidades en los dominios.
Sí.
Y aquí vemos más uniformidad.
Sí, aquí se ven pequeñas perforaciones.
Esta irregularidad, doctor, ¿a qué la atribuye usted, de acuerdo a su peritaje?
A un campo magnético externo, pero de acción muy rápida, para que dañara únicamente una sección de la cinta, no totalmente la cinta.
¿De qué campo, qué magnitud estamos hablando?
A ver, están hablando del orden de entre 8, aquí lo indiqué, entre 8 y 10.000 teslas.
¿Teslas? Esto es...
no, perdón, Gauss.
Son Gauss, perfecto.
Gauss.
¿Estos campos se encuentran normales en la naturaleza o se tuvo que acercar o exponer a un dispositivo específico?
Se acercó a un dispositivo específico, sí.
Correcto.
Sí.
O sea, no hay duda, solamente la única forma de explicarlo.
La única forma de explicarlo, sí. Pero además, muy rápido, ¿no? Sí.
O sea, ¿quiere decir que la fuente que se emitió fue una fuente rápida o cómo? No entiendo?
Sí, o que hay un campo magnético intenso de esta magnitud que pasa la cinta, no se pasa rápidamente y ya. Entonces,
y esa es la característica, la huella característica que se encuentra en sus estudios.
Exactamente, sí. Estas son fotografías iguales, con una amplificación mayor. Entonces,
estamos hablando de la cinta que es normal.
Esa es la cinta normal.
No dañada.
Ajá.
Y esa es la cinta dañada.
Dañada, exactamente.
La irregularidad de los dominios y la presencia de estos especie de insuficiencia de dominios nos habla del daño.
Sí, de valles y crestas, y aquí hay una separación mayor que en este caso. Esa es la parte tridimensional del estudio.
Correcto. ¿Y este estudio de acá, estas imágenes, doctor?
Estas son las mismas imágenes, pero en plano. Con lo que yo veo es únicamente la superficie del material sin meterme a la topografía.
¿Corrobora lo que usted nos está indicando?
Exactamente, sí. Pues aquí lo que se observa es, otra vez, los dominios magnéticos homogéneos en la zona de la película no dañada, y esa es la zona de la película dañada, entonces ya se ve una diferencia muy grande.
¿Y cuál es el dictamen que usted tiene de la diferencia de estas dos?
El efecto de un campo magnético externo sobre la cinta.
Sobre la cinta dañada.
La cinta en la zona dañada.
La zona dañada.
Sí.
Pero no nada más hizo usted un estudio desde el punto de vista de microscopía de fuerza atómica. Tengo entendido que también utilizó otros sistemas que creo corroboraron su observación.
Exactamente, sí. Se hizo un estudio de la isometría. La isometría es una técnica que nos permite medir varias cosas. La importante en este caso es el índice de refracción de la superficie de la cinta, de la superficie magnética de la cinta, con respecto a la energía de incidencia de un rayo, y lo que me genera es esto, me dice cómo cambia el índice de refracción de la muestra y cómo es la homogeneidad de la superficie en esa zona.
We have then proof, scientific proof to this case, probably for the first time. With this, the scientists cannot say there is nothing to be analyzed, there is nothing to study. Here they have this tape, they have this case, and there is nothing they can do about that.
Okay, so the next section I'd like to look at is possible hints of new technology which appear to have come out of NASA. One of the things which happened last year on 28th of March 2004, NASA announced a successful test flight of a ramjet or scramjet engine which propelled the vehicle to Mach 7. And I think this has even been superseded to Mach 8 or Mach 9 this year, 2005. Though this isn't an anti-gravity device or propulsion engine, it does make me wonder what is still classified. I mean, this is a pretty advanced type of jet engine, but some people say this is 30-year-old technology. So what have they been working on since? The other thing which people seem to reject is the idea of a link between gravity and magnetism. Now, in the physics that I was taught, there was no real relationship between gravity and magnetism as such. But a recent NASA science story, which came out just over a year, well, nearly a year ago, talks about a new probe to test for gravitomagnetism. And here's the story. And this is the Gravity Probe B, which has left the Earth to measure a subtle yet long-sought force of nature, it says here. And this was a probe which was launched on April 20, 2004 to try and find this supposed link between gravity and magnetism, to find out the curvature of space-time, whether it can be affected by magnetism and this sort of thing. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the hints of new technologies which were released right under our noses. in February 2004.
I recall in your study one of the things, and you hinted at it, of an enabling technology for the Mars mission was this nuclear thermal propulsion.
Yes, sir.
And it seemed like I recalled, and you said something about 240 days if you do chemical and 100 days or less if you do nuclear thermal propulsion. And the other piece of that was the significant savings in cost to do the mission. Billions of dollars, as I recall from that study. Do I recall correctly?
You're correct. And the fact for those, you can take a look at these curves. Those are all verified. Those are all run by JPL for us over a period of 6 months, simulation and modeling. And the darker ones, the blue ones, are the nuclear thermal. And with just a slight increase in mass down there on the nuclear thermal, you can cut the transit time from 240 days even down to 130. Mm-hmm. And then if you have any electrical power propulsion, there for ion propulsion, you can really cut it down to about 60 days. Now this drastically reduces your gross liftoff weight, which directly relates to cost and staging and everything else, Mr. Chairman. Mm-hmm. And yes.
Okay. It's interesting, just an observation. Anytime this country, and I know this in DOD, and you do as well, wants something really badly and fast, we take it out of the normal acquisition cycle.
Yes, sir.
We specialize, and it says something about the acquisition system. Means if we don't want something fast and needed, we'll put it in there. You know, so it's a little bit. It's kind of backwards. It sounds like.
In the video there, he mentioned nuclear thermal propulsion. But Edgar Fouché spoke of nuclear thermal propulsion in 1998, which is when he gave his talks in which he described the TR-3B. So something's going on here. And there's some further comments which came from the Moon to Mars briefings as well, which I found quite interesting.
One observation, one question. I'm struck by your list of supporting technologies as I look at it. I put my previous hat on, responsible for all the Air Force research and development and technology, including the space stuff. With the exception of the EVA suit, everything that you list there are technologies that other agencies, in this case particularly the Air Force, are developing to some extent or another. And I think it reinforces that notion for leveraging technologies and leveraging agencies to make sure they're working together, because every one of these in some form or another is being touched upon, and there are dollars associated with it, and from the Air Force and I'm sure many other organizations also. So that leveraging aspect is very, very important. The question, you talked about management and NASA management, et cetera, and you mentioned a couple of different areas. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at, but I'd be interested, or the Commissioner would be very interested, if you could give us your comments, if not today, but in the future, about the reorganization NASA is currently making within the headquarters to address some of the things that you talked about. Thinking particularly of Code T, their new exploratory systems, sort of a Air Force Systems Command-like organization to be responsible for addressing some of the concerns that you've expressed in your study. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it and give us your thoughts today, certainly would be interested in when you can get back to us.
Well, General Lyles, what I'd like to do is to come back with you. I know just briefly, and I'm all in favor that they have Admiral Craig Steidel, who has got a lot of acquisition experience. He's bringing people in there with him, and we're more like the Code M writes the requirements, and the other people do the acquisition development, just like the Systems Command did. I think it's a wonderful way to go, but I only know just some of the primary details, and I'd be glad to look into it and come back and report to the Commission. I think it's but also this National Program Office I mentioned would pull all together, because the Air Force does have a lot of technology.
Thanks, Tom.
And the quote there was, the Air Force does have a lot of technology. And that was what Tom Stafford actually said in that clip. So what's the Air Force doing developing technology to go into space? I thought that was NASA's job. This video was then deleted a few months later. What's happened to the renewed space program? Nothing. It's been killed. So I've got a couple of clips of that. Let's see, I've got to skip through this now. If this is real, why the secrecy? What does it mean for us? Well, it means free energy for everyone. Freedom for everyone has the technology. Complete freedom. But it also, the thing is, folks, I'm sorry to have to break this to you, but it's been weaponized. This technology has been weaponized already, and it's been used as well. This is something nobody wants to talk about. People here this weekend, you won't hear them talking about this. I've had to write a book about this. That's the remains of one of the World Trade Center towers, 70 columns of unsupported steel turning to dust. Someone wants to explain to me where these buildings went. This building here is building number 7, destroyed at 5:20 in the evening on 9/11. So this is what was left of the World Trade Center. So here you can see the comparison. Where did 500,000 tons of steel and concrete go in 20 seconds? This is what the technology, which involves anti-gravity technology, can do, and what it did do. It can turn cars upside down in New York.
South Tower came down. I was across the street, and I picked up the camera just out of habit. And something in the back of my mind said, run, run, run. And never in 20 years of shooting in New York have I run from an assignment. But something in the back of my head just said, run. And as I hit the corner of Liberty Street, it was almost being picked up by a tornado, almost being picked up by a wave. It was like being picked up by the black cloud. That black cloud had substance. It was like night, but it had a solid feel to it. It was like gravel, hot gravel, and just picked me up and tossed me about a block. At one second I was running, and the next second I was airborne. And I lost my glasses, I lost my cell phone, I lost my pager, but managed to hold on to both cameras.
But it threw you for a block?
I was back down at Ground Zero last week and walked the area where I have a pretty good recollection of where I was and where I wound up, and it was just under a city block.
There was this blast of warm air. It wasn't hot. It was warm. And it picked me up and threw me up against the wall of the building that was...
You were picked up off the ground?
Physically picked up off the ground.
I remember an explosion. At that point, I got knocked out. I don't remember anything. Then I got up, and I looked out the window because the windows exploded, and the street below caved in.
Here's a clip from 2008 from John Hutchison. John Hutchison submitted an affidavit for Dr. Judy Wood's science fraud case, which was covered up, not reported by anyone. Wasn't even reported by the alternative knowledge community when I tried to get them to report it. Got weird fires, which were seen in this boat experiment of John Hutchison, seen at the World Trade Center. So we now know the class of technology that was used to destroy the World Trade Center. It's very similar to what's called the Hudson effect, which is based on field interference. I've got whole DVDs about this. These are John Hutchison metal samples on the left. This is from the World Trade Center on the right. I don't think I've got time to go into the crop circle connection, but there is a crop circle connection as well. I've got to leave it there because we're just about to time now, 10:15. I've done it in an hour, which is far too quick. So you have to consider the evidence that I've shown you, what to make of it. Is it all a load of rubbish, or all these UFOs just people mistakenly seeing things? Or are all the videos fake? Why have people tried to cover up the connection of the Hutchinson effect to 9/11, which has been clearly documented by Dr. Judy Wood, who is a former professor of materials engineering science and mechanical engineering? You've got to consider all that evidence for yourself. Just close with a quote from Thomas Townsend Brown, which is more related to the extraterrestrial side of things. He said, he made an analogy of a person looking at UFOs and ET craft to a fish looking up at the bottom of a passing ship. That fish looks up at the strange thing in its sky. It may have different properties, maybe size, prop wash or turbulence. Some fish will scatter and never look again. Some fish will wonder, but none of them will really know what that form represents, in other words, the boat. They will never know about other things that man is capable of other than sailing across that particular part of the ocean. We in many ways are those fish, and the lights we see in our skies are the hulls of those ships. So that's some of the websites that I've used. Not very readable on there because of the colours used, but I've got more information outside. So that's basically it for today, and I hope you'll think about that very, very carefully. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. That was absolutely fascinating. And I know that I'm going to echo all of the speakers here today when I say that obviously I know for many of you, the information you hear is just a starting point, but you are encouraged to go away and do your own research and make up your own minds about the information that's being presented. We're now going to take a 15-minute